bracing for the worst as a powerful winter storm takes dead aim on our area.
This is Channel 2 News at 11.
Good evening, everyone. A dangerous blizzard is bearing down on our area, and the watchword tonight is beware.
This was the scene a short time ago near Atlanta, Georgia, where you can see the heavy snow is falling. The National Weather Service warns tonight this could be the worst storm of the century. It has been intensifying all day, ironically, on the anniversary of the blizzard that buried our area in 1988. Let's get the latest now on the storm's track from Frank Field live in the Channel 2 Weather Center. Frank, let's hear it.
Well, it's not the blizzard of 1888, but by now I think most residents of the tri-state area are aware that we are in for it this weekend. Let's go quickly over all the warnings that we have. We have a winter storm warning with blizzard conditions. That means winds may kick up to near hurricane force of 74 miles an hour, and that will cover much of our area. We also have coastal flood warnings with those strong winds. The coastal flooding will occur at high tide 6 feet above the normal. The high wind warning, as I mentioned, up to hurricane force. Well, you can see it on the radar screen, crawling slowly across the Gulf states as the storm begins to gather force, getting all that energy from the Gulf of Mexico and making ready to head north right into our own backyard. And what will it leave us? Well, you can see 6 to 12 inches of wet slush, 10 to 15 inches in the interior, more than a foot, possibly 2 feet of snow at the higher elevations in the interior. I'll join you back in the studio and we'll track the storm over the next 24 hours, Ernie, and I think it's a bad one.
Ooh, all right. Thank you, Frank.
Okay, we'll talk to you again soon, Frank. Some parts of our area still haven't recovered from the last major storm on December 11th. Now, 3 months and a day later, the battering begins once again. Our team coverage continues with Channel 2's Tony Guida. He's live in Babylon, Long Island, where it's deja vu. Tony?
Michelle, I'm at Gilgo Beach in the town of Babylon and at the center of the irony of beachfront living. Behind me, that tractor and those huge pipes represent the Army Corps of Engineers' expensive and valiant and probably futile effort over the past 7 months to restore this beach. Tomorrow's storm is likely to swallow up all that work, all the beach that's been reclaimed. Along Broadway in Gilgo Beach tonight, where houses are just a few yards from the Great South Bay, Suffolk County Police were advising residents to leave. Most were agreeing to go, including 87-year-old Ruth Poole, who has lived here 24 years.
I'm devastated because, you know, I've seen what the water does. If I come back and there's nothing but a washout here, it's not very pleasant to contemplate.
But a few houses away, this man has decided to ride out the storm.
I don't know. I feel very brave this time. I have a feeling it's not going to be as bad as they say. If they order me to leave, I'll probably leave. But if they leave it up to me, I'll probably stay this time. I don't think my wife will stay. In fact, I'm sure she won't.
All along the South Shore, there were preparations for this storm. Fire Island ferry boats were tied up at Bayshore, out of service. Fire Island residents were asked to leave, but some chose to stay on. In Mineola, the Red Cross was loading blankets and clothing to take to shelters. In Nassau County, shelters will be open in Bayville, Glen Cove, Valley Stream, New Hyde Park, and North Merrick. For information, you can call 516-573-7056. As for shelter information for Suffolk County, you can call the Red Cross, 516-924-6911. And in Brooklyn at Seagate, David Wynn was liberating sandbags from Beach 43rd Street, where they are no longer needed, for use to protect his basement 6 blocks away. He's trying to avoid a repeat of December's storm.
And last time the water came up so high, it pushed the door actually down off the house, off the frame around the house, and rushed into my basement. I had water from floor to ceiling. Had 8 feet of water in my house.
Again, you are looking at a beach and pipes and a tractor that represent part of an Army Corps of Engineers multi-million-dollar project to reclaim this beach. And there are a lot of area surfers, local surfers standing all around here. They've come by the beach tonight, they say, to say goodbye to it. They say it's been a great surfing beach, but they don't think it's going to be here after this storm. That's the latest from Gilgo Beach. Let's check in now on the situation on the Jersey Shore at Seabright and my colleague Pat Battle. Pat?
Well, Tony, we're looking at the taped-up windows of the Food Town supermarket here on Ocean Avenue behind me. We're in a particularly low-lying area of Seabright, one where the Shrewsbury River normally meets the Atlantic Ocean during big storms. In fact, the street that I'm standing on was under several feet of water 2 weeks ago in a storm that barely warrants mentioning when you compare it to what we're expecting tomorrow. That is, of course, 75-mile-an-hour winds, tides of up to 4 to 6 feet above normal, blinding snow, and severe beach erosion. It's a combination that has officials down here along the shore crying, abandoned ship.
After the past couple storms, I think they're paying attention finally.
And all along Ocean Avenue in Seabright tonight were literally the signs of things to come. Store owners hit hard by that monster nor'easter back in December seem to be sending a desperate plea to Mother Nature.
We're getting ready tonight, getting everything off the floor and getting everything up in the air in case we do have flooding.
The doctor had 14 inches of water in his office last time around, lost lots of client files and other things, and so tonight they were taping up their windows and placing strategic piles of sandbags in their doorways, hoping to hold back the floodwaters that are sure to come with the storm. Most of Seabright's 1,900 or so residents were evacuated during the December storm, and some families are still not back in their homes. That nor'easter hit by surprise, but this time there's been plenty of warning. And if the flood of people into local grocery stores is any indication, they're taking the threat seriously. Bread shelves were nearing empty before 7 o'clock. Milk was also a hot commodity.
The goodies, the licorice, the candy, the peanuts.
Don't forget the peanuts.
Next door is the liquor store, lots of beer and wine.
You sound like you anticipate being snowed in for a few days.
I'm hoping.
Hopefully.
Ginger Tatum was without power for 6 days after the December storm. This one, she says, she's ready for.
So we got some candles, we got another gallon of milk, bread, things that you can cook on the stove because our oven didn't work when we lost the power and we just had the gas and that's it. We're washing all our clothes tonight.
And over at Herman's Sporting Goods store, there was an early rush on emergency items like
lanterns, flashlights, and heaters.
And Warren himself is headed for higher ground.
I gotta go in, I gotta get my cat out. So last time she had to sit in there for 3 days. So this time I figure I get her out before it hits.
And again, that storm expected to hit before dawn between 3 and 5 o'clock this morning, with the worst of it coming around noon and early Saturday afternoon. We can't emphasize enough that this is a potentially deadly storm. A lot of people accuse the media of being alarmist. This time, I believe we're sounding a warning. I'm Pat Battle live in Seabright. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Pat. And people here in the city are bracing tonight, too. People were out stocking up on essentials at supermarkets. For some, that includes water, canned goods, batteries, and things for the baby. For others, the essentials included soda and snacks. But a few New Yorkers think the weatherman may be crying wolf.
They have been predicting a lot of snowstorms. I haven't seen anything yet.
I hope I don't have to come out in the blizzard.
There may be a little storm, but I don't think it's going to be as blown up as they're anticipating.
For me, it's not snowing. The sun is shining because my granddaughter's coming back.
Well, despite some of that skepticism, the National Weather Service insists this storm is for real. We'll have more later in the newscast. Ernie?
And in other news tonight, an angry man with a badge, a gun, and a vendetta walked into a Brooklyn courthouse today and went on a deadly shooting spree. Police say that he was in the middle of a bitter custody battle with his wife when he opened fire, killing her and wounding 2 others. Channel 2's Lisa Castleman has more.
While no custody hearing is ever routine for the parties involved, the one today on the 5th floor at Brooklyn Family Court got gory when a disgruntled husband pulled out a gun and shot his wife, killing her and injuring 2 others. The identity of the gunman only adds to the irony. Police say he's 52-year-old Max Almanor, a state parole officer sworn to uphold the law. Friends say he was clearly frustrated and wanted his wife and daughter back.
He would hurt somebody to get his wife back, put it that way. He wanted the marriage back. He wanted his marriage back. Not just the daughter, he wanted the marriage back. He wanted his marriage back.
Last July, a judge issued an order of protection after Almanor's wife, Danielle, complained of harassment. Today, the violence broke out in a court waiting room.
There was some notes passed back and forth between him and his wife, at which point something happened. We don't know what happened. He got up and he shot her.
Well, what we heard was commotion. All of a sudden, the security, the correction officers were coming down the floors and rushing out the courtrooms and pushing people in and out.
He did like this, and he started shooting. 3 times she got shot.
The 2 other shooting victims were treated at nearby hospitals, one with a serious wound in the back. Court officer Deborah Abdusabur, who helped arrest Almanor, was injured while trying to apprehend him. While Brooklyn Family Court is equipped with metal detectors, officers and other officials did not have to pass through them. Police say Almanor flashed his badge this morning and breezed through, no questions asked. All officers who enter courthouses who are off duty are supposed to leave their weapons behind. It's an honor system that apparently failed this time. It failed the entire system and failed Almanor's family most of all. In Brooklyn, Lisa Castleman, Channel 2 News.
6 days of deliberations appear to be taking a toll on the jury in the Glen Ridge, New Jersey sex assault trial. 4 former high school athletes are accused of abusing a mentally impaired woman. Today, one of the jurors requested that a baseball bat and evidence be removed from the jury room. She was heard to shout, quote, "I want that bat out of here. I don't trust you." The judge later had the bat removed. In addition, the jurors announced they had reached a verdict on 5 of the 9 charges. However, they decided not to announce the partial verdict and will resume deliberations on Monday.
The chemical engineer arrested in connection with the World Trade Center bombing faced the law today. Nadal Ayad was denied bail today as he went before a federal court judge in Newark. The judge said Ayad posed a substantial threat to society and ordered him held until a March 24th hearing. Federal officials say Ayad is a close associate of the other prime suspect in the case, Mohammed Salami. Both are listed on a suspicious Jersey City bank account that received money transfers from halfway around the world. Michelle?
Big military cutbacks coming up next. The devastating impact on our area as the Pentagon announces closings or cutbacks involving scores of military bases.
And also the surprise new owner of the New York Post. And later on, we'll have more as our area braces for a powerful winter storm coming up.
Channel 2 News, sponsored by Amstel Light.
You know, if life were perfect, women wouldn't talk during the bottom of the night.
Yeah, and magazines would never smell like perfume.
No. See, if life were perfect, potato chips would cure hair loss.
Dogs would walk themselves.
And algebra, it would actually come in handy.
Well, hey, at least there's Amstel Light. It's only 95 calories.
Yeah, but it still has that real imported taste.
Nothing's missing. Amstel Light is a great beer.
Look, if life were perfect, you'd buy the next round.
All right, I'm buying.
You got a camera?
This taxi driver's taking tourists for a ride.
How can you charge $10 to go 3 blocks?
And he's getting away with highway robbery.
What, do you make a living hustling tourists, sir?
It's a cabbie confrontation on the mean streets of Manhattan.
What's the black tape doing over your meter, sir? Black tape right there.
Before you step into another cab, catch this special Shame on You report, Monday at 11 on Channel 2 News.
Some long-distance companies can make promises to your business in a flash. Too bad they're not as fast to connect your calls. But with up to 50% faster connections than other networks, AT&T guarantees you'll be satisfied with the speed of our connections, or will credit you for the call. It's the AT&T Best in the Business guarantee. So it's your choice. Fast connections. Or some other companies, fast talking.
The AT&T Best in the Business guarantee. Call for details.
The Pentagon has announced plans to close 31 major military bases in the U.S. and scale back 134 others. All told, the cutbacks would save more than $3 billion a year at a cost of more than 80,000 military and civilian jobs. Our area is among those that would be hit hard by these cutbacks. McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey would lose 3,600 military and civilian jobs. In addition, Fort Monmouth in New Jersey would lose over 2,500 jobs. The state's congressional delegation is promising tonight to fight the cutbacks. Meanwhile, in New York, the Staten Island home port is on the hit list. It would be shut down at a cost of 2,200 jobs. And in Connecticut, the Pentagon's plans call for severe cutbacks at the submarine bases in Groton and New London. A total of nearly 2,300 jobs would be lost there. Soon after the Pentagon cutbacks were announced, President Clinton visited with troops aboard the aircraft carrier Theodore Roosevelt in the Atlantic Ocean. The president doesn't have the final say on the base closings, which, by the way, would hit California the hardest. 7 bases there are on the hit list to be closed. Congress will have to agree on the final list by September.
On a day the New York Post faced a possible shutdown, a surprise. The paper wound up with a new owner. Channel 2's Marcia Kramer reports on what led to the takeover by real estate developer Abe Hirschfeld.
Well, my headaches are now beginning, but I am used to it. I can solve headaches.
Hirschfeld bought the racy tabloid with the distinctive red banner after all-night negotiations with current Post owner Peter Calico and his committee of creditors. In doing so, he aced out another financier, Stephen Hoffenberg, who less than 2 months ago saved the Post from certain death by putting up $6 million to continue its operation. At one point, Hirschfeld and Hoffenberg signed a joint ownership deal, but their relationship soured and Hirschfeld decided to go it alone. Hoffenberg is still fighting to get control.
I predict he will interfere in the editorial of this newspaper. When he does that, he will start to lose reporters and other people in the newspaper. And I predict that his massive firings, number 4, will cause the newspaper to shut down, and then they'll have to come back to me.
During today's court proceedings, Hoffenberg tried to stop the sale to Hirschfeld by arguing that he would breach the sacred line of demarcation between editorial and business policy and try to interfere with the paper's news coverage. Hoffenberg said that last week, Hirschfeld tried to have a reporter fired because he wrote a story Hirschfeld didn't like. Hirschfeld's disdain for reporters is well documented. A few years ago, the controversial real estate developer got in hot water in Florida for spitting on a Miami Herald reporter whose stories he apparently didn't like. Herald reporter Bonnie Weston told Channel 2 News today that Hirschfeld held a press conference to say he was proud of his actions, and he compared it to President Reagan bombing Libyan strongman Muammar Gaddafi. Union leaders and Post reporters had this to say about the new boss.
And we wish him all the best, and we'll be delighted to work with him. When I say we, I mean the unions.
I'm just happy for anybody to buy us and that I still have a job.
It's still not clear that the Post's financial problems are over. Hirschfeld only put up just over $3 million, and the Post eats up $1.4 million a week in operating expenses. Hoffenberg predicts he'll be back in court within 2 weeks as the buyer of last resort. In Manhattan, Marcia Kramer, Channel 2 News.
And in a late development tonight, the new owner fired the Post editor, Pete Hamill.
Coming up next, a landmark day. The nation's first female attorney general is sworn in.
Also, the latest on the powerful winter storm heading our way. Frank Field tells us when it'll hit and how much we'll get.
President's Month continues at your Tri-Honda dealer. Get a great deal on a new Prelude. If you went to Clinton High School, or even if you didn't, you qualify.
For over 60 years, Siemens has been the way to a beautiful home. And right now, you'll find great low prices with no down payment and no payments or finance charges till July. See Siemens first for the way to your beautiful home.
Now, held over, a coast-to-coast savings event. It's the National Jeep Sale, still on at your Jeep and Eagle dealer. Lease or buy a four-wheel drive Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo at special savings. Get $500 cash back when you buy or lease Wrangler. Lease or buy four-wheel drive Cherokee Sport and get special lease rates and cash back. So hurry today, because while our vehicles know no limits, our sales do.
There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers.
Excuse me. It's all right. Just an ad. It's all right.
At a time when things seem to be getting tighter and tighter, TWA has made it a lot easier to get by. We're replacing coach with new Comfort Class to give you the most legroom of any major U.S. airline. And we're even putting footrests on every wide-body plane. But the price remains the same.
USA Today asked car dealers which car they rated best. Who are we to argue?
Channel 2 weather sponsored by AT&T.
Lately, another 800 service has been promising to save you a few drops in the bucket over AT&T. What they're not telling you is that they lose 50% more 800 calls. Calls take longer to get through, and the other company is twice as likely to have a network outage. Now, when you think of all the sales you could lose if you don't have AT&T, their promise doesn't hold much water. One of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business.
Janet Reno was sworn in today as America's first female Attorney General. Supreme Court Justice Byron White administered the oath in Washington. The 54-year-old Florida prosecutor was unanimously confirmed by the Senate yesterday.
All right, we've been talking with Frank here. Hard to believe just today, beautiful day, and now we're bracing for this huge storm tomorrow, Frank.
What a change. And all the computers 2 days ago were telling us there's going to be a storm, one of the worst storms, and it's hard to believe, but it's happening exactly as predicted. Let's take a look now at the readings, then we'll try to track that storm as it moves up. 36 degrees now. The humidity has been gradually inching upward, 70% now, and the winds are out of the southeast, and the storm is a long distance away from us, and yet, during the morning hours, light snow will begin to develop in our own area, and the storm won't be anywhere near us. Let's see just how it will develop. This is 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. The storm will still be down in the southeastern corner of the country, but the snow will have already spread all the way up the coast right into our backyard. So we start out with light snow during the early morning hours. By noon, it should be moving right up through the middle Atlantic states. Snow still continuing. Possibilities of 6 inches of snow to 12 inches of snow along the coast before it changes to rain. And the reason we think there'll be some rain too is as the low moves up, that storm will continue northward by 7 p.m. Moisture off the ocean will move in and keep the snowfall along the coast lower with mushy kind of snow, wet snow. In the interior, drier conditions, a foot of snow in the mountains or more, 2 feet in some of the higher elevations. Through Saturday night, that storm will continue to buffet the northeast, and by Sunday morning it will be moving away, and behind it comes a cold sweep of northwesterly winds and still some snow showers. So again, to repeat, all the warnings that are up. We have a wind warning, blizzard conditions. Winds will get up to 40, 50 miles per hour, reaching hurricane gusts. A hurricane is 74 miles per hour. Blizzard warnings, low visibilities, low wind chill, coastal floodings, 4 to 7 feet above normal expected, and the snowfall amounts between 6 to 12 inches in the city and a foot or 2 well north and west of the city. So for Saturday, a pretty rough day. Into Sunday, the snow finally tapering off. And then for Monday, we come out of it with a clearing condition, but this should be
a real serious storm.
Quite a weather system. And of course, Craig Allen will be here tomorrow with me, and we'll be here all day.
We will all be here to take people through it. So thanks, Frank. See you in a short time, we should say. When we continue, we'll have an update on the preparations, by the way, for tomorrow's storm.
We're going to tell you about emergency action being taken as the storm heads this way.
The all-new 1993 Lincoln Mark 8. 4 cams, 32 valves, 280 horses. Mark 8, together with Lincoln Town Car and Continental, make Lincoln the only domestic car line to offer dual airbags and 4-wheel ABS brakes, standard on every 93 model. And when you consider how easy it is to lease a Lincoln right now, it all adds up to this. You simply have to have it. Mark 8, Town Car, Continental, at your Lincoln Mercury dealer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the New York State Lotto jackpot is now $20 million.
Excuse me. Coming. Excuse me, please.
Thank you.
Set the perfect mood with a bigger, brighter choice of music. Light FM. Turn it on. The light at the end of your FM dial. A bigger, brighter choice of music. Light FM. Turn it on.
To find out why Light and Lively low-fat yogurt is so smooth, we asked the experts.
They got this big, huge smootherator. They take tons of fruit and they smush it and they mush it. They put bananas and strawberries and it's very complicated.
One thing is clear. Kids love the smooth, fruity taste of Light and Lively yogurt. And it's good for them. It's in fun flavors, too. The experts are speechless. Light and Lively yogurt, an early start to eating smart.
If you looked up the word value in the dictionary, you know what you'd find? A picture of the Toyota Corolla. Corolla comes from the same family as the Camry, but it's all new. For less than $200 a month, you can have all the power, room, and safety that over 25 years of engineering have put into the new Corolla. Oh, and if you looked up quality, you know what you'd find? A whole line of Toyotas. See a Toyota dealer today. You'll find him under savings. You could look it up.
The Jane Whitney Show's moving to the Big Apple.
Because New York audiences are the best.
Be part of the excitement. Call 1-800-771-2700 for free tickets.
We want to get the very latest now on preparations in our area for what's expected to be a monster winter storm tomorrow.
All right, let's start with Pat Battle in Seagate, New Jersey with the latest from down there. Pat?
Ernie, actually, we're in Seabright, New Jersey, and there's an air of anticipation down here, not necessarily one of fear, though. They've weathered a lot of bad storms in these parts of the Jersey Shore, and while they've learned to respect the power of Mother Nature, they've also learned to accept what comes along with that and to prepare for it. Hence, they boarded up all the windows along the storefronts here on Ocean Avenue in Seabright. They've taken everything important up off the floor. There are sandbags at the doorways to try to keep the floodwaters out that are sure to come with this storm tomorrow afternoon. These people weathered the big storm back in December, and certainly they thought that was going to be the worst storm of the season. So when this one came along, they decided that they'd better gear up for this one as well. Police have been taking phone calls, dozens of phone calls all day long, and they're simply warning people to abandon ship, just to leave, to go to higher ground, to get out of Seabright, New Jersey, because surely this is going to be not a good place to be come tomorrow afternoon. I'm Pat Battle live in Seabright. Let's go back to you.
All right, it's going to be rough going, Pat, and we just want to remind you that we got information just now. Delta Airlines has told us that they will cancel all of their flights after 11 a.m. tomorrow. We'll have all kinds of information for you, and Channel 2 News will have certainly continuous coverage of the winter storm throughout the night and tomorrow morning. We ask you to stay tuned.